It's where the big stories live. This is Plus TV Africa, and you're watching Tea Time. Hello there, and welcome to the program. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo, and I'm here with the chic, sharp, and shimmering Elsie Godwin. And can I forget the irrepressible, irrefutable, and irreproachable Ife Oshunkeye? Hi, guys.
Hi.
I can tell you definitely like your intro.
Yes, I did. I can tell you had breakfast already.
That's very good.
That's
Yeah. This, your dress actually reminds me of, a picture that was trending online yesterday, the wedding. Linda, did you see Linda's Ejiofor's?
Yeah, I did.
She wore a beautiful gown. I was like, wow. And when I saw that, I was like, that reminds me.
Thank you.
So I saw that has been trending online. People were just posting that picture, including.
Picture is beautiful.
It's absolutely really beautiful.
And I
think
for
the first
both
person.
of them
Sorry?
actually, because I read something funny online. Someone said it's like a lady. She was like, "Are you sure I'll not go and join Tinsel cast now because they are finding those bands?"
And even the bridesmaids all looked elegant and beautiful. I was like, wow. I think Adeswa was one of the first people to.
That's like her best friend.
I know. So it's like, wow. Anyway, anything else that you found trending online yesterday?
So David is saying he should bill Mr. Legbegbe.
Do you think he has a point though?
I'm not sure.
Because he has made money, and then the
and he has said that the song is not about Seun Egbegbe.
But we all know.
But we all know. And then they're saying he has made like 50 million.
The day I was told that song was about him, I was shocked. Like, really?
But if you put one and two together, it's not so hard to.
All right. So on to today's edition of the program, we have a studio guest. And you know how we do it right here on Tea Time. We bring you some of the most celebrated personalities on planet Earth. It's not any different today. Our studio guest is a prominent figure in the Nollywood industry. She's a screenwriter, film producer, film director, and film distributor. She has 32 producer credits, 16 writer credits, and numerous awards to her name. She's the founder of the Royal Arts Academy here in Lagos, with 157,000 followers on Instagram and with over 68,000 followers on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Nollywood Empress, the eminent, the empathic, and the empowering Emem Isong.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so now I understand that you generally don't like, having interviews. Some have said, you're mysterious, So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I just don't like too much of the public life. I don't know why. I'm more of a behind the scene kind of person. But then again, in entertainment industry, you really can't, avoid the limelight, especially when you have a project to promote.
Exactly.
So I have to come out every now and then.
Because I know from a long time ago, you've always wanted to get into entertainment. So for you to say, you want to be private when it's like living in a fish that lives in an aquarium that everyone sees.
A goldfish.
A goldfish, yes, exactly. So for you to want, privacy in the limelight, do you not think that's asking too much?
Well, not exactly. I think that, I don't want to act.
Okay.
I just want to write and I just want to produce content. It's just that now you really have to work hard at putting your content out there, so you have to promote. So sometimes you have to put a face to the name, and that's why occasionally I come out. I still think you can still try to remain private in this business.
Yes,
Okay.
is that part of the reasons why you decided to have a private wedding?
I knew that would always come out. Well, not really. That just happened. That is how I felt at the time. I just wanted something really, just few friends, few family members, and that's it.
And did you get backlash from your friends that, you didn't invite me, why didn't you tell us about your wedding?
A lot. They were not happy at all.
So how did you
with me.
settle that?
Well, I told them that maybe when we do our 50th anniversary, everyone can come.
Speaking about anniversary, you have one coming up in December. That would be 4 years, wouldn't it? Or is it 5 years?
4 years.
4 years,
Yes.
Okay. So are you celebrating this year? It's going to be in December, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you celebrating or is it going to be 50 years?
We're still have 46 more years to go.
So
Not celebrating
let's
yet.
talk about Nollywood.
Okay.
You are one of the prominent women in Nollywood today and doing a lot to push the industry forward. Where are we now in Nollywood? Do you think we are close to where we want to be compared to, you know, they have the old Nollywood and then the new Nollywood and the controversies around that? Do you think we are getting close to where we should be?
I think so. I think we're almost there. I mean, if you look at the works that are coming out now, I mean, they are really getting to top-notch level. I've seen quite a number of films in the cinema, and they're not bad. We are getting there. The world is taking notice, and people are beginning to change the way that they do things in Nollywood. The technical quality of our productions have improved, and so many other things. So I think we're quite close.
Okay.
So
Maybe
how do
not
you
there
feel
yet.
Okay,
about-
I just quick, because she's still talking about this, I just wanted to quickly ask, based on what you've just said now, is there any movie out there now that you really like, you know, that meets up to your standard right now that you had nothing to do with?
Well, the one I've seen recently, the one that is on right now, King of Boys.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
It's quite nice, and I think it reminds me of the kind of stories we told back then, where content, there was deep, you know, the stories were really deep. I like for me, I'm a story-based person. For me, film is story. So when the story is really, you know, meaningful, I like it. And for me, King of Boys struck a chord with me. I like it.
Okay, so now King of Boys was like 3 hours long, and I think some of your movies as well are like that long as well. So I don't know, in terms of the storytelling, do you feel, you know, it should be made shorter, or you feel the length of the film actually has an impact on how it's also received?
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Okay.
When back in the days, I know that when I used to approach actors and actresses, they say, "Oh, Emem has come again." My script would be like a big Bible. I like to write, my stories are usually quite long, that even my editors had problems struggling to cut it to 120 minutes or 90 minutes. So it depends on what you are saying. For those who are drama based, sometimes I don't see anything wrong in doing 120 minutes. I don't see anything wrong, especially if that story can captivate you. Example, King of Boys, yes, it's quite long, but it's captivating. It's not a case where you stay in the cinema and then you walk out because you're bored. I'm not sure anybody walked out, or if they did, very few, because of the length of the movie. So it all depends.
Okay.
All right. So one would think a screenwriter or a producer or director would enjoy watching TV and get inspirations from what you see on TV. But from my research, you prefer reading to watching TV. Now, where do you draw your inspiration from? Is it from the knowledge you derive from reading books, or there's something else? Is that, do you go to a particular place, or people like nature to derive inspiration? What do you do to?
That's a bit dramatic. I think inspiration can come from anything.
Yeah.
I love to read. Reading came to me. I started reading at a very early age. I think I started reading at about 9, 10. I'm talking about storybooks. And this was also because of the way I was brought up. I was brought up in a very close-knit family, and my parents were really strict, and you could hardly even go anywhere to play. Then we didn't have gadgets to play with and all of that. And they were so strict that they would limit your time watching TV. So my escape was in books.
Oh.
So I would just take a book or two and then escape to whichever part of the world. So I knew so much about so many countries that I'd never visited. And eventually, years later, when I visited some of those countries, I felt as if I was actually there, because I'd read so much. So I love reading, and it of course is very inspiring. It makes you want to create your own as well. But inspiration can actually come from anything. I tell you, I have an example. It's a movie I did called Emotional Crack. I always say this. I was actually in SA for, I think that was when they used to have the Sitengi Film Festival.
Okay.
So I was in SA one time, and we had taken some pictures, and then you had to like print out the pictures. So we went into a photo studio to print out these pictures. And when I walked in, somebody came in with a framed picture that had a problem. There was a crack diagonally across the frame, and it was a lovely couple. So that I said, look at this lovely couple. There is a crack in this thing. There could be cracks in their relationship. They look so nice and everybody wanting to be like them, but you don't know what they are going through. That gave me an idea to write a story called Emotional Crack. So anything can inspire me.
Okay, all right. It's time for a break. When we return, our studio guest, Nollywood filmmaker Emem Isong, will be telling us more. Don't even think, don't even ponder, don't even contemplate going anywhere for the time being, because we'll be back before you know it.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 I dey pay.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live. Up next, a continuation of our conversation with popular Nigerian filmmaker Emem Isong. So, if you do have a question for our guest.
A lot of people talk about youth empowerment, but do not act on it. But you're one of those that is taking a stand and you're actually empowering the youth, and through your initiative, Spotlight. So tell us about that, man.
Spotlight is a project, it's an initiative I started about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. This is actually the third season. It's about youth empowerment. It's about showcasing the talents of these young people. And because we train filmmakers, Royal Arts Academy, which we train people in Royal Arts Academy. We train filmmakers, like we do directing, we do editing, and we do acting. So at the end of the year, what I do is just try to create a platform where these people showcase what they have learned over, through the year. It's just certificate courses, 3 months programs each. And I noticed that a lot of people, when they come out, they ask me, what next? So we created Spotlight to be able to kind of introduce them into Nollywood. And we invite industry professionals, we invite established stars and other people to see what the students have done, and a networking session. And hopefully they get to go from there. So that's what, in a nutshell, Spotlight is all about.
Okay, so you have to be from Royal Arts Academy to benefit from Spotlight.
Well, yes, somehow. But we're actually, for this year, we are launching something about this student short film competition, where other students from other schools or anywhere can actually bring short films, make their short films, and then because we have a competition within Royal Arts students for them to give us maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes short films, and then somebody wins a prize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So has there anyone that has during the Spotlight, have they won any contract as a result of the Spotlight event?
Not necessarily from Spotlight, but I know they meet a lot of people there. And a lot of our students have gone on to become, some of them are doing well. Like this lady from I think Big Brother Africa right now, Bam Bam, she came from Royal Arts Academy. There's so many of them that are doing well in the industry. Debbie Felix, I think, Lota. There are lots of them that are doing stuff out there, and I'm really so proud of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it make you feel knowing that you are a part of the reasons to other people's success story? Because someone like Stephanie Okereke, she came into the spotlight through one of your movies. So how does that make you feel?
I feel good. I don't set out to do that, but I just like to encourage young talent. Even before I had Royal Arts Academy, I've always been like that. If I'm making a movie, I mean, when I first started, I didn't even have the money to pay stars anyway. So I had to look for people around, and I used what I saw. And from those movies, a lot of them rose to stardom. So I've always liked, even up till now, when I'm working with stars, I must find a role for an unknown. And something strong, which the unknown will definitely play with an established star to help the unknown to rise. So it's something I've always done, Royal Arts Academy or not. Okay. I think that introducing a fresh face kind of makes a difference. I think that when you're watching a movie, it's also nice to be able to, you can empathize more if you don't recognize some of the characters in the movie. So I try to give at least, if not the leading role, I give supporting roles to unknown faces. It makes it a little bit more realistic in my own estimation. Okay. And I just like that. Okay,
so you've worked with a lot of, well-known celebrities and, people who have names in the industry. I was going to ask you, like, how, out of all of them, who has it been that has, like, made so much of an impact to you or that you've enjoyed working with the most?
Should I really answer that question? There are so many of them. I love working with... I love working with Ramsey. Okay. I mean, I love working with a number of them for different reasons. Someone like Majid, for instance, is an actor. He's a director's delight. He makes your work easy. Some of the actresses too, when they, like Mona Lisa, Stephanie, when you work with them, they're so immersed in their job. Even Adeswa, when I worked with Adeswa, she's so professional. So it all depends on what you're looking for. A number of them can be quite difficult though, but then
when you say they're difficult, what do they do that makes you that gets you on your last nerves?
We're all human beings. Artists especially have their various idiosyncrasies. Sometimes, they bring this diva attitude all over the place and making the work very difficult for the crew members. But then again, you try as a producer to be a people's person. You try to be diplomatic. You try to, you massage ego here and there just to get your job done and all that. But generally, if you master that art, you can work with anybody.
Okay. Right. So you're a storyteller, and I'd love you to answer this question. I think Nollywood have moved from the issue of casting the wrong person for a particular role and moved from technical issues. Now they've gotten all that right. But when you see people complain about movies, it's usually the story. Where do you think the problem lies? Is it that we do not have writers in Nigeria enough, or they do not go to the right people?
Can I really answer that question? I think storytelling is an art. I used to write. It's so difficult for me to write now. I don't know why. Maybe I'm chasing money too much. But as a writer, you have to be immersed in your story. If you're writing about a particular thing, I feel you should do a lot of research. And when I used to write, for me, in my head, I'm already acting it out. So I have to make it so believable. To me, story is very important in filmmaking. You have to, not just having the right story, being able to tell it well. How do you get the story out there, beginning, middle, and end? How do you weave it in such a way that it makes sense? Because sometimes, even me, sometimes I get it right, then towards the end I just mess it up. I really don't know whether it is something you study or it's something that is inborn. I can't say. I think it's a gift.
Do you think there should be more collaborative effort when it comes to screenwriting? I mean, how you have the script, you know where you want it to start from and where you want it to end, but having more people on board instead of having just one person writing a story and editing it for screen, coming from different perspectives, do you think that would help have better stories since we've gotten almost every other part right?
Sometimes so many cooks spoil the broth. It's good to workshop. It's good to workshop a script. You get ideas and try to, get the plot right, but one person still needs to sit down and put these things together. It all depends on what you're doing. For sometimes I workshop, sometimes I don't. I just go with the flow. Yeah, I think it's you can run your story by some other people. It might help.
So I want to ask about, something that other film producers have said, or one in particular. He was saying something about anyone who is popular now, or anyone that is well known in the Nollywood industry, would have gone through, I don't know, he said something about prostitution. I'm talking about Pascal Atooma, and what your take on that is, because he's saying for any woman to be successful in Nollywood, they must have gone through prostitution. Or was that not what he said, Pascal Atooma?
90% of the women in Nollywood are prostitutes,
so
roles and things like
how
that.
do you react to that? And the reason why I wanted to ask you is that you're in the industry, you're a Nollywood writer, you're a director as well, so you're probably in a good place to sort of... Sorry?
She's a producer.
And she's a producer as well, so you're in probably a good place to sort of let us know what your take on this is. And you also work with a lot of these Nollywood celebrities as well. So your take on Pascal Atooma and what he said?
I still find it difficult to believe that he said that. I actually didn't want to believe. I'm not sure. I've not seen him since then to actually ask him. It's a horrible statement. It's not true. You hear about sex for roles and all of that, but you cannot say that 90% of Nollywood stars do that. These are talented women. These are people that have worked hard to get to where they are. I mean, that's a terrible statement to make. I do not agree with that, and I condemn it vehemently. I don't want to believe he said that.
Okay. Right, so do you believe there's gender inequality in Nollywood?
I don't think so. I think right now, a lot of women are doing great things in Nollywood. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Some of the great movies in recent times have made a lot of money about women. Now, I don't think so. I think if you know your onions and you know what you're doing, you don't need to say, I want someone to give me a chance. You take the chance and then you go out there and prove your point. So, no, I don't think so.
Okay. So you don't think there's any kind of inequality in terms of the pay and in terms of them getting roles?
In Nollywood? That's my opinion, though, but I don't think so.
All right. So what is your greatest challenge thus far in your career?
Effective distribution. We have a very chaotic distribution system. I still believe that we have not been able to organize our distribution enough. I don't see any reason why in a country of over almost 200 million people, we cannot, even just within the country alone, to be able to make enough money from our works. You make a movie, there's a lot of stuff going on. Even in the cinemas today, there's a whole lot of politics and all of that going on. It shouldn't be so. I mean, a good film should be able to sell itself, and of course with promotion. And I think that financing also, is a huge challenge. But then again, you really cannot blame the investors, because you have to show them in black and white how they're going to make their money back. If they see it, I believe that, any investor wants to make money, they will make the money. So we're still trying to fine-tune the area of distribution. I believe once we get it right, then we are really going to get there.
I'm sure there are a lot of investors watching right now that would like to make a change. So suggest a solution to this problem.
I still think it's distribution. We need more cinemas. We need structure in the business. Once that is done, we will make our money. And then we have to begin to make movies that can travel, movies that can be, that can resonate with all parts of the world, so that we can take our movies beyond our shores. Okay,
we're running out of time, so I'm sure Elsie will want to ask the last question regarding the elections.
So I'll just ask, Nigeria general election is coming, and the youths are divided, of course, for this, for that, we want this, we want that. What advice do you have for them as we walk into this very sensitive time of our nation?
I think we should all get our PVC. The youth should get their PVC. Everybody should go out there and vote, and let's try to vote the right person in.
Okay, all right. And that's precisely where we're going to wrap up on Tea Time this morning. Join us this afternoon for yet another exciting episode of the program. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchors, Ife and Elsie. I also have to thank the all-inclusive and entire production team, including our stylist, courtesy Kudi's Empire. And last but most certainly not least, our studio guest, Nollywood filmmaker Emem Isong. Thank you very much indeed. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you later this afternoon.